John Jones versus Israel Adesanya. Will it happen? Typically, in this case, I'd say no. They're in two different weight classes. One's a champ, one's not a champ. One's going to fight for the heavyweight belt soon. But in this case, they got the intangibles. There's too much bad blood. I think at this point now, we had the Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa fight, and after that fight, a lot came out about Izzy's pec, and people were giving him the steroid accusations, and he kind of brushed it off. Said he was going to get it figured out now, see what was wrong. Didn't want to figure it out before the fight because he might have been pulled out of the Costa fight. But now talks are heating back up. John and Izzy are firing back at each other. Izzy says he'll fight John at any weight class. John says he's gonna take a limb off of Izzy. Says he's gonna take him down and take an arm home with him. And again, typically at this point in talks, they would just be talks. They'd just be gassing each other up. But with John in limbo, if John was at 205, I don't think this fight would happen. I think it actually is more likely of happening now that a belt isn't tied into it. Because if a belt was tied into it, they don't want to hold up the middleweight division and 205-pound division both for 6 months, a year, whatever the hell it ends up being. But since a belt isn't involved, and as far as I know, at middleweight, there's not really a set contender now. There may be, but in my mind, there's not anybody that jumps right out. I think it's the fight to make right now. And there's only about a 6-month window you can make this fight. Once John goes up to heavyweight and fights somebody up there, it's too late. Could it happen? Yeah. But the likelihood of it goes way, way, way down. We're talking 1-2%. Right now, I'm thinking it's a 30-40% chance of happening. You got to strike while this shit's hot. People are talking about it. People are blowing up. People are going off about Izzy over Costa. John doesn't really have a real challenge. People are saying he got busted up his last 2 fights, and he's fleeing the division. And John's been going on Twitter rants. He's been just saying all this kind of crazy shit about Izzy. Izzy too. Izzy won't leave it alone. I'm pretty sure John said Izzy mentioned his mother a few times, and dirty stuff. But the talks are hot right now. It's very possible. I think it has a good chance of happening. But again, time is of the essence. In the next 6 months, John's going to be too fucking heavy. He's going to be beefed. Once he already fought Stipe or Brock, too late. Originally I thought that Izzy would have to bulk up first. He'd have to bulk up more. Because he's in my mind, he's a kind of a lanky 185er. Doesn't have that much meat. But in reality, Izzy's pretty thick. He didn't look that different against Costa. You know what I mean? If you can put a beating on a guy like Paulo like that, he's walking in at, 220, 230? John's going to be walking around the same, maybe 240, but not that different. I think Izzy's a skilled enough striker, a good enough striker where, he can make this an interesting fight. Now, if Izzy gets held down, we'll get there when we come to it. But the idea is that Izzy is at least the striker of like Thiago Santos's and Dominic Reyes' level, and he would have really not that much problem tagging John. The real question is, can John stay off Izzy? If John's on Izzy the whole time, I think we know how that fight goes. If he gets him in the clinch and he takes him down, I think we know how that fight goes. But if Izzy can stay away, keep his back off the cage, not get taken down, tag John, make John a little mad, make John frustrated, that's where things get interesting.